My name is Michael Reynolds, and for as long as I can remember, this land has been home to my family. It wasn't fancy, but it was ours, acres of peaceful woodland and a little farmhouse my grandfather built with his bare hands. Every sunrise, I'd sit on the porch with my coffee, listen to the birds, and feel the calm that came from knowing I owned this land free and clear. That peace didn't last long, because a group of power-hungry neighbors decided to play God with my property. One morning, I walked outside to find a bright orange notice taped to my front gate. It said, "You are trespassing on HOA property. Immediate evacuation required." I actually laughed. HOA property, I muttered. There was no HOA here when I bought this place 10 years ago. I'd checked the county records myself. But the logo on the notice looked official, Maplewood Lakes HOA. I drove down the road to where some new houses had popped up over the last year. I'd kept to myself mostly, but I'd seen construction crews and moving trucks. It turns out that a new luxury community had been built on the edge of my land, and the developers had quietly formed an HOA that claimed to manage all adjoining properties, including mine. I parked in front of the shiny new clubhouse and walked in. Behind a desk sat a woman who looked like she'd swallowed a lemon. Blonde bob haircut, pearl necklace, and that tone in her voice that said she was born to boss people around. Her name tag read, Karen, HOA President. "Can I help you?" she said in that fake sweet tone. "Yeah," I replied, holding up the notice. "You can explain why this was taped to my gate." Her smile vanished. "Oh, you must be the squatter we've been hearing about." I blinked. "Excuse me." She crossed her arms. "That property you're living on is within our HOA's jurisdiction. The previous owner failed to register with us. We're simply bringing everything into compliance." "Lady," I said, trying to stay calm, "I am the previous owner, and I never agreed to any HOA." Karen smirked. "That's not what the records say." I could feel my blood boiling. "I own that land outright," I said, "and I can prove it." "Then do that," she said, leaning back smugly. "But until then, you're trespassing." That was the start of my war with Maplewood Lakes HOA. Over the next few weeks, they sent me violation letters, fines for unapproved fencing, unregistered livestock, and even unmaintained landscaping. I ignored them at first, thinking this would blow over, but then things got serious. One afternoon, I came home to find my gate padlocked shut. There was a sign that said, "Property seized, HOA enforcement." I cut the chain myself, furious, and drove straight to the county courthouse. There, I pulled every record on file. The original deed, the boundary lines, the land surveys, all signed and notarized in my name. Then I found something that made my stomach turn. Someone had added an annexation document to my property record dated just 6 months ago. The signature, Karen Miller, HOA President. That was fraud. I took the evidence straight to my lawyer, who nearly fell out of his chair. "Michael," he said, "this isn't just a civil issue. They've altered public records. That's a felony." We filed a report with the sheriff's office and prepared a cease and desist letter. But before anything could happen, Karen and two other HOA board members showed up at my front door, clipboards in hand. "Mr. Reynolds," she said, "we've given you multiple notices. You're in violation of HOA Code 7B. If you don't vacate within 72 hours, we'll be forced to call law enforcement." I smiled because I had just gotten off the phone with the sheriff myself. "Go ahead," I said, "call them." She squinted. "You think this is a joke?" "No," I said, "I think you're about to learn one." 3 days later, she did. The HOA called the cops, and guess who showed up? The same sheriff I'd spoken to, holding a folder full of the documents I'd given him. Karen strutted up to him like she owned the world. "Officer, this man is illegally squatting on HOA land." The sheriff cut her off. "Ma'am, I've reviewed the county deeds. This property belongs to Mr. Reynolds." Karen's mouth dropped open. "That can't be right. Our annexation agreement." The sheriff pulled out the forged paper. "You mean this one, the one with your signature on it?" Her face turned white. "I suggest you and your board step off this man's property," he said, "before you dig yourselves any deeper." They left without another word, but I wasn't done yet. With my lawyer's help, we filed a lawsuit against the entire HOA for fraud, trespassing, and harassment. When the hearing date arrived, I walked into the courthouse in my best suit, and there she was, Corinne, sitting at the defendant's table, looking like her world was falling apart. The judge looked through the evidence, my original deed, the county's map records, and the annexation form with her signature. When the judge asked her if she had forged it, she started stammering. I was told it was standard paperwork." The judge wasn't buying it. "You altered official property documents to seize land that wasn't yours," he said. "This court finds you guilty of fraudulent misrepresentation." Her jaw trembled as the gavel came down. The HOA was ordered to pay me a massive settlement for damages and legal fees, enough to buy the lot across the street. Corinne was removed as president and banned from serving on any HOA board again. But that wasn't even the best part. A few weeks later, I decided to put up a brand new gate at the entrance to my property. On it, I installed a shiny bronze sign that read, "Private property, TRESPASSERS will be PROSSUTED." Then just below it, I hung the old HOA notice they'd taped to my gate months earlier, framed in glass, as a reminder. Every time I drive past it, I smile, because the same people who once called me a squatter ended up paying me to prove I owned the land all along. Justice has a funny way of working itself out, especially when you have the deed and their signature to prove it.